They call him the defensive genius no one can touch. Undefeated, untouchable, a mind that solves fights before the first punch is ever thrown. But today, we're not breaking down Shakur Stevenson inside the ropes. We're stepping into his multi-million-dollar empire, exploring the $10 million lifestyle of a man who hasn't even reached his peak. Glass-walled mansions built on discipline, Rolls-Royces, Lamborghinis, and Ferraris gliding silently through city nights. A private world he protects just as fiercely as his chin. This is the lifestyle of a fighter who wastes no motion, in the ring or in life. So, before we step inside the garage and the estates, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because this isn't about defense anymore. It's about what precision builds when the cameras stop rolling. Born as Shakur Nafi Shahid Stevenson on June 28, 1997, in the heart of Newark, New Jersey, the odds were never in his favor. Raised by his mother and stepfather in a city notorious for crime and hardship, he wasn't just fighting opponents in the ring. He was battling the world's expectations of who he was supposed to be. By 5, gloves were already on his hands. Boxing wasn't a hobby. It was a lifeline, an escape, a promise that he could rewrite his story. His style became elusive, smooth, surgical, a ring IQ that could only be earned through obsession, discipline, and pain. That obsession carried him to the 2016 Rio Olympics, where he represented the United States and returned home with a silver medal. The tears weren't for defeat. They were for the knowledge that greatness demanded more. As a professional, he didn't just compete, he tore through divisions. Featherweight, super featherweight, lightweight. By 26, he held world titles in 3 weight classes. He didn't merely beat champions, he dismantled them. From the brutal TKO of Jamal Herring to the masterclass performance against Robson Conceição, to the 9th-round demolition of Josh Padley in Riyadh, every fight sent the same message. This is my era. Success followed beyond the ropes. Endorsements with Reebok and Prime Hydration, smart investments, and his Brick City boxing brand have pushed his net worth to roughly $10 million. He's building his own, blending dominance in the ring with control outside it. And it's that same drive, that same refusal to settle, that has shaped his world beyond the ropes. What does that look like in real life? For Shakur Stevenson, it's a life built with intention, a reflection of everything he's earned and everything he never had. From the streets that forge his fire to the Houston mansion he now calls home, every corner of his world whispers the story of a man who refused limits. Step inside, and you'll find more than walls and furniture. You'll find a sanctuary. The sprawling Houston estate is more than luxury. It's a statement. Modern architecture, open spaces, and rooms built for both family and focus speak to a life that balances comfort with purpose. Outside, the driveway gives a first glimpse of the man himself. A fleet of high-end machines lined up like trophies of perseverance. A sleek Aston Martin Vantage gleams under the sun. Its curves and engine promise speed and precision. Beside it, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan towers in quiet elegance, whispering sophistication and dominance. A black Mercedes-Benz S-Class reflects the city skyline, a nod to understated power. Even his daily drivers, the Volvo XC90 and a BMW M Sport, blend practicality with performance, showing that even routine moments are executed with style. Each car tells a story, speed earned through sacrifice, precision shaped by discipline. High-end timepieces mark moments most never reach, while private jet flights carry him from fight nights to boardrooms in complete control. It's a life defined by access, power, and intention. But none of it appeared overnight. And to understand where this empire truly comes from, you have to rewind to the very beginning. His journey didn't start in glass-walled gyms or with title belts. It began on the streets of Newark, where most kids his age were still learning the alphabet. From the very first day, he slipped gloves over his hands. There was a purpose in every movement, a precision in every step. Inspired by Olympic gold medalist Andre Ward, Stevenson didn't simply want to box. He needed to survive, to conquer, to define what he was capable of. By 2014, that relentless drive had already carried him to gold at both the IB Youth World Championships and the Youth Olympics. But even victory couldn't quell the fire inside him. 2 years later, in Brazil, the world watched as a teenage phenom chased Olympic glory. He fell just short to Cuba's Robiacy Ramirez, returning home with silver, but the disappointment was fuel, not defeat. That hunger became the engine of his professional career, a fire that refused to be dimmed by anyone's expectations. February 9th, 2017, marked the beginning of a new chapter. He turned professional with Andre Ward guiding him and Top Rank investing in his potential. From the opening bell against Edgar Brito, it was clear this was no ordinary debut. He moved like a shadow, a ghost in the ring, untouchable and precise. Each victory over early opponents, Carlos Suarez, David Michel Paz, Patrick Riley, Elio Mesquita, was more than a win. It was a statement. He wasn't here to participate. He was here to dominate. Analysts whispered comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, but he had no interest in imitation. He was building his own blueprint, one punch, one round, one fight at a time. By 2019, facing Joe Gonzalez for the vacant WBO featherweight title, the stakes were enormous. When the final bell rang, Stevenson had claimed the crown, making history as the first male from the 2016 U.S. Olympic team to win a professional world title. The fight elevated his profile, not just in sports, but as a commercial force, putting sponsors and promoters on notice. This was someone to be reckoned with. The rise didn't stop there. He moved up to super featherweight, dispatching Felix Caraballo in 6 rounds before outclassing Toka Khan Clary and dismantling knockout artist Jeremiah Nakathila in his prime. Every fight added another layer to the legend, another illustration of intelligence, speed, timing, and control. By the time he faced Jamal Herring, forcing a 10th-round stoppage to become a 2-division world champion, it was clear that his dominance wasn't a fluke. It was a product of obsession, discipline, and strategy that few could match. April 2022 brought a defining night against Oscar Valdez. Personal stakes, controversy, and global attention surrounded the bout. He outclassed Valdez in every round, scored a knockdown, and claimed the WBC, WBO, and the ring belts. More than 1.4 million viewers witnessed the spectacle, but it wasn't just a fight. In a moment that would be replayed endlessly, Stevenson dropped to one knee in the ring, proposing to his girlfriend. Triumph, skill, and love collided in one night, creating a narrative far beyond what the sport alone could tell. And yet, even champions face moments that test more than their skill. In 2023, he missed weight against Robson Conceição by a mere 1.6 pounds. 2 belts were stripped before the bell even rang. Many would have crumbled under the scrutiny and criticism. Stevenson treated it differently. He adapted, recalibrated, and moved up to lightweight. When he faced Edwin de Los Santos later that year, he landed just 40 punches across 12 rounds, setting a CompuBox record for the fewest punches landed in a championship fight. Fans argued about entertainment, but skill was unquestionable. Every move, every calculation proved that dominance isn't about perfection. It's about control, strategy, and the ability to impose your will. Through it all, his career-defining nights weren't just about skill. They were about building an empire. The Joe Gonzalez fight launched his professional legacy. Jamal Herring cemented him as a multi-division champion. Oscar Valdez demonstrated that his reach extended beyond the ring, creating moments that could be monetized, celebrated, and immortalized. And now, with an upcoming clash against Teofimo Lopez on the 31st, the stakes rise once more. This isn't just a fight, it's a statement of legacy, brand, and global influence. Victory here could redefine not only his career, but his standing as a commercial powerhouse in boxing. And yet, even as he stands undefeated and untouchable, another question arises. Can the skill, discipline, and precision that have built his empire in the ring translate into the life he carries outside of it? That question opens the door to a world few ever see. A life of quiet victories, love, and legacy where the toughest battles aren't fought for belts, but for family, purpose, and the moments that truly define a man. Stepping out of the spotlight doesn't make the world any less demanding. It just changes the rules. For Shakur Stevenson, that reality hit on a quiet December night in 2021, far from the roar of fans and the glare of cameras. Cradling his newborn daughter, Leilani Asha Stevenson, for the first time, he felt the weight of a new fight. One without gloves, without rounds, without judges. The roar of the crowd was replaced by the soft, unbroken heartbeat of a tiny life depending on him. The fighter who had once outclassed world champions now discovered patience, presence, and a love so profound it reshaped everything he thought he knew about victory. At the center of this transformation stands Michelle Ragston, known to the world as Young Lyric. A recording artist and model, Lyric matches Stevenson's ambition with her own fire, and together, they've built more than a life. They've built a home. Their love is a rhythm, a balance of intensity and tenderness that mirrors the very way Shakur moves in the ring. Calculated, deliberate, unstoppable. Now, he fights not just for titles, but for legacy, for family, for the moments that money and fame can't buy. As of 2026, Stevenson remains undefeated, a three-division world champion, and the only American male from the 2016 Olympic team to reach these heights. Pound for pound, he belongs among the very best, a cerebral tactician in an era that too often glorifies chaos. Names like Gervonta Davis, Vasyl Lomachenko, and Devin Haney loom on the horizon, promising further career-defining nights. But his story isn't just told in wins or titles. It's told in strategy, in precision, in the quiet moments of preparation that most fans will never see. Every fight, every sponsorship deal, every business decision is a calculated step toward an empire that exists beyond the ropes. His career asks a question that resonates beyond boxing. What does it truly mean to dominate? Is it enough to win fights, secure belts, and amass wealth? For Shakur Stevenson, the answer continues to unfold. Each round, each opponent, each commercial and personal choice adds depth to a life built on precision, vision, and relentless ambition. But even champions face trials that no applause can erase. In 2022, the unthinkable happened. On the eve of a title defense against Robson Conceição, Stevenson missed weight by a mere 1.6 pounds. Two belts, the WBC and WBO, were stripped before he even set foot in the ring. The world saw the fight, but the sting of imperfection cut deeper. Yet he still performed like the master of his craft, a reminder that discipline doesn't crumble in the face of error, it adapts. The scrutiny didn't stop there. In 2024, a heated social media clash with former world champion Andre Berto erupted, fueled by Berto's past doping controversy. Some called it petty, others honest, but one thing was certain. Stevenson never hides, never plays it safe. Beyond the glitz of championship belts and the roar of arenas, his life is a puzzle most fans never see. Behind the calm, calculated genius in the ring is a man constantly plotting his next move. Endorsements with Reebok, Prime Hydration, and SNAC aren't just paychecks. They're stepping stones in a carefully built empire. He's tested ventures in the spirits industry, explored tequila promotions, and with his top-ranked contract now ended, whispers of his own promotional company are growing louder. Stevenson isn't waiting for opportunities. He's creating them. A chance to write his own rules, just like Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez before him. Even outside the ring, he navigates scrutiny, fame, and expectation, balancing fatherhood, love, and ambition under a microscope few could endure. Few see the full picture. The man meticulously plans his investments, negotiates his brand, and studies opponents like a grandmaster studies a chessboard. The father spends nights teaching his daughter patience and focus. The partner shares life and ambition with Young Lyric. Every move, every decision, inside or outside the ring, is part of a larger strategy, a vision of empire. And yet, Stevenson's lifestyle isn't just about wealth or possessions, it's about legacy. Brick City Boxing, his apparel brand born from the grit of Newark, turns fans into followers and passion into profit. Endorsements amplify his earnings, building a financial empire that mirrors the dominance he commands in the ring. But even amid luxury, his roots remain unshakable. Through the Stevenson and Moses Boxing for Life Foundation, he gives back to the city that forged him, mentoring young fighters and proving that a dream alone isn't enough. You have to fight for it. So the question remains, when the belts are worn, the spotlight fades, and the gloves come off, who is Shakur Stevenson? A fighter? A father? A businessman? Or a man quietly building an empire that will cement his legacy far beyond punches, fame, and titles? The answer is still unfolding. But one thing is certain. The world has only begun to witness the full scale of his ambition. If you love this deep dive, hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and make sure you're subscribed for even more inside looks into boxing's biggest names. And while you're here, check out our full breakdown of Terrence Crawford's journey. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you ringside in the next one.